All right. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to VETS. I wanted to give a quick shout out to Daniel Renteria and his team for hosting and giving us this platform to talk to you about the small business and disabled veteran business enterprise program. Today we'll be discussing contracting with California state government, and this is the third webinar and final webinar based on our three-part series. So hopefully you caught the first two webinars. The first one, just to give you a quick refresher, was how to do business with California state government. This is an intro to the program. The second webinar was certified now what? Now that you've certified yourself and understand the program, what's the next step? And this third one, we will be introducing contracting with California state government. Hopefully you're already set, you're certified. If not, that's okay. I'm gonna walk you through our process on how we can get that started for you. And this is still beneficial information that you'll receive once you get certified and all set, because it's a way it's a long process that you're gonna learn what you have to do to set yourself up for success. So my name is Darvin Manuel. I'll be your instructor or presenter for today. I work for the Department of General Services. I'm a business outreach liaison. We have a team of business outreach liaisons talking to you about the small business and DVBE program. So if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I'll leave my email and contact information here for you. And as mentioned, there's going to be a few things that we're going to be discussing today. How the state buys, acquisition methods, leverage procurement agreements, solicitation format, commercially useful function, and resources. Some of this information that you learned from the previous webinars may overlap, but that's okay. The reason we bring it up is so that you have an idea of the different process and agreements out there that will best fit your services and also the goods and services that you provide. All right, so when the state purchases a good or service, it's many of you may know, it's different than how you would purchase something in the private industry, right? As individuals, people, we think about options and make decisions that involve buying something at a store or purchasing something online or calling a company to buy a product or service. So the process for the state is quite different, as many may already know. We're expending public funds, your funds, and as taxpayers, you want to make sure that your dollars are being well spent and the process is fair for businesses that pursue contracts. So there's various rules, regulations, and laws that come into place that are distinct, and there's specific process for purchasing goods and services that we call the procurement process. And there are different process for purchasing various goods and services. There may be different norms and common procurement process, and there are many exceptions to these norms. So you'll hear a lot the term that it depends, right? When talking about how procurement works. So we'll go over those major parts with you and why they are important. But knowing how the state procurement process works will hopefully help you find contract opportunities, and it'll equip you to respond to those contract opportunities. And we'll go into detail right now in regard to the procurement process. Okay, so there's several parts to the procurement process that you as a buyer must follow. The authority to conduct the procurement, the need of their department or office, the acquisition method, and the solicitation format are all parts of that process that are important for a certified small business or DVBE like yourself has to know. So we'll go through each one and talk about what they are and how it's relevant to your business. And it'll hopefully make it easy for you to understand the information and how you can conduct a market research and finding or responding to these procurement opportunities. It can also help you to look for opportunities and know where you'll find where they can be found in our website. The department's given a purchasing authority by DGS. And so just a quick overview, DGS is the oversight department for this whole program. So a department's given a purchasing authority by DGS or from another source, and the department in need, it's rather simple. A department needs a good or a service they do not have or cannot perform, and they turn to the private sector, which is you as a small business, to meet those contract needs. The acquisition method and solicitation format are a little more complicated in regards to understanding. So we'll go through what that means for you, what that means for the state, and what the acquisition method and solicitation format looks like. Okay, so the acquisition method, this identifies how the purchase is to be made and what key activities within the procurement process should be followed. So when you as a buyer purchase something, a good or service, when the state as a buyer purchases something, a good or service, they must decide which acquisition method they're going to use. So this is determined by many factors, including what are they purchasing, how much money are they spending, what their purchasing authority is as a department, and other key factors. There are these are some of the more common acquisition methods certified businesses will encounter. So we'll talk about each one. And knowing the acquisition method used to procure the goods and services as a small business helps your business find and pursue the right opportunities, and it helps with market research. But first, let's start with the formal and informal competitive method. Okay, so the formal and informal competitive method is the common competitive acquisition method used to purchase IT goods, IT services, non-IT goods, and non-IT services. It is competitively bid, as the name suggests. It follows the procurement process we talked about, which involves identifying the department need and developing the solicitation, which is typically written. These are typically advertised on the California State Contract Register for at least 10 days, which can be found on Cali Procure. Cali Procure is the website where you got yourself registered and certified, and this is also your one-stop shop. So caliprocure.ca.gov. If it is advertised, the business with a UNSPSC on their registration profile that matches the UNSPSC on the solicitation will get notified. Buyers can reach out to businesses like yourself directly, and having the same UNSPSC and relevant keywords on the business certification profile will allow the buyer to find you as a business and solicit you for bids. It may allow for phone quotes based on dollar thresholds, and it'll say on the solicitation itself. It includes an evaluation award process where the buyer evaluates the bid responses and makes an award based on the evaluation criteria. That evaluation criteria can be based on low cost or best value, depending on how that solicitation is written. All right. So let's go over the next acquisition method, which I feel most small business and DVBE certified businesses fit towards. This is exclusive to certified small businesses like yourself, which include micro businesses and disabled veteran business enterprises. If a business is not certified, they are automatically excluded from this procurement process. So this is one of your perks, one of your benefits as a certified small business. So this method is used for relatively smaller procurements between 5,000 and 250,000 or up to 388,000 for public works. It requires 2 quotes from either 2 small businesses or 2 DVBEs, and it cannot be mixed or matched. They can be evaluated as low cost or best value. It may be advertised, but it is not required. So we strongly encourage you to gain rapport with the advocates of the state agencies that you are targeting or wanting to do business with. We strongly encourage the state departments to advertise to increase the opportunity for more certified businesses to respond. And buyers typically solicit bid responses from certified businesses by email. And again, this emphasizes the importance of having a robust profile on Cali Procure with UNSPSE and keywords so the buyer can find the business. And also, I'd like to add to that is to letting advocates know who you are and how you can help them for their reaching their participation goals and their buying needs. All right, so another acquisition method is known as the fair and reasonable method. This is the simplest and most straightforward acquisition method for smaller contracts under 10,000. So the buyer needs only to get one bid that they can determine to be fair and reasonable, and they can award the contract. While it is possible buyers may solicit bids from multiple businesses and receive and review multiple bids, they're only required to, only one is required, so long as it's a fair and reasonable bid. The buyer can use a variety of methods to make this fair and reasonable determination, which includes price comparison, using a catalog or market pricing, controlled pricing, historical pricing, or cost-benefit analysis. So what is most important for the business to know for this acquisition method is that they need to be responsive when the buyer reaches out. If a business is slow to responding to a buyer, another business may have already submitted their bid and the buyer may have awarded a contract to another business. This again, I would like to emphasize the importance of having a robust profile on Cali Procure with your UNSPSE and keywords so the buyers can find you as a business. And also creating that rapport with your advocate, right? Because the advocates speak with the buyers, let them know what qualified small businesses are out there. So knowing who you are really helps. Okay. So there's this other acquisition method known as emergency contracting. Not all businesses may fall into this category, but I'd like to discuss it because it could be an opportunity for you. We all are familiar with emergencies, right? We, as California, we experience fires, floods, earthquakes, and public health emergencies like the pandemic. Emergencies can also include something less widespread, but still urgent and concerning, like a water pipe breaking in a state hospital. That situation in an emergency for the hospital and requires an immediate response because, well, the state must respond immediately. The solicitation may not be a competitive one. So it's not realistic in the example of a forest fire or a water pipe breaking in the hospital for the state to spend weeks writing up and releasing a competitive solicitation, right? Or receiving bids, evaluating those bids, and making an award. The state needs to act quickly. And the state purchases lots of different goods and services when dealing with emergencies and things that businesses don't always think of. So to support the inclusion of certified small businesses like yourselves, these contract opportunities was created for SB-DVBE, known as the SB-DVBE Emergency Registry. It's separate from Cali Procure, and it's used by state buyers to find certified businesses that are ready, willing, and able to support the state during an emergency. Buyers look for businesses when an emergency strikes and beforehand. So only certified businesses can register in the emergency registry. When businesses register, instead of using keywords in UNSPSC to describe what they sell, they instead select from the predetermined list of goods and services that are provided in this registry. This simplifies things for businesses and for buyers, and it builds confidence that the business that do sign up are a good fit for emergency contract. So if you're a business that's ready and willing and to support the state in an emergency, then this is something that you should consider signing up for. If not, please wait until you are. It's important that the buyers can, in an emergency, quickly and confidently find businesses that can respond to an emergency. So I want to share some of the categories that you're going to see when you register. These are some of the emergency registry categories, and you as a business must select at least one category when you register. So for information on registering, you're going to need your certification number, emergency category, description of the products and services, business address, and contact information. There's going to be information on who you could reach out to for the emergency registry if you have any questions signing up for that. All right, so we talked a great deal about the method. I'm going to go and keep it moving at this point because we have just an hour, but we have so much information to share with you that we'll just take questions at the end and open it up. All right, so now I'd like to talk about the leverage procurement agreement, otherwise known as LPA. This is an agreement between the state and one or more businesses to sell specific goods or services to the state for an agreed upon pricing, requirement, and other terms and conditions for the state to purchase those goods or services as needed. So DGS establishes these agreements, and other state departments use these agreements when they're purchasing, all while adhering to applicable policies, procedures, and user instructions. The LPAs may be available to local entities like counties, cities, special districts, education systems, and other government entities. We also have what we refer to as reciprocity partners that will accept your certification. It varies from one LPA to another. So the user instructions of an LPA to determine who is allowed to use an LPA. These agreements are awarded for $0 because they only set up the framework to allow the business to sell their products or services to the state and for the state to purchase these goods or services as needed. When the LPA is set up, the state can project the dollar amount they expect to be spent through the LPA over the length of the agreement, giving the business like yourself an idea on how much money they can expect to make. The LPAs enable streamlined purchases by removing repetitive, resource-intensive, costly, and time-consuming solicitation processes by departments. They can last multiple years. All right, so these are the different types of procurement agreements that are set up by DGS. And these are the most important for certified businesses to know about. Now, we'll go through each one and talk about what they are, how they work, and what a business needs to do to get one of these agreements. And again, all this is public information, and you can find it on www.caliprocure.ca.gov. All right, let's start with master agreement. These are agreements or contracts that are competitively bid when established. They are advertised in the CSCR, and businesses will learn about the opportunity in the same way as other public competitive solicitations. Notifications from CaliProcure and appearing in supplier searches conducted by buyers through keywords and UNSPSC. These master agreements may be awarded to multiple businesses. It depends on the contract and whether multiple awards is appropriate. If there are multiple awards, then that will be made clear in the solicitation. When one or more businesses are awarded the agreement, state departments and potentially other entities can use the agreement to purchase from any of the businesses as needed. The process of purchasing may require offers. In the case of a contract is awarded to multiple businesses, the buyer would get offers from those businesses as opposed to just selecting one of the businesses and making a purchase. This process of soliciting offers as a measure of competition amongst the business that were awarded the LPA. So these LPAs are available to any agency that expends public funds. So any state agencies can purchase or make a purchase using master agreements. So if making an offer is required, departments must solicit offers from a minimum of 3 suppliers, including 1 SB and or DVBE when available. Okay. These are some of the examples that of what can be purchased using the current master agreements held by certified small businesses. And statewide contracts are another type of LPA. They are competitively bid and are for more commonly purchased goods. They are often done as single awards, although there are instances of multiple awards. They're usually established as mandatory for state departments to use. That means if departments want to purchase a good that is on the mandatory statewide contract, they're required to purchase through the statewide contract. Now, generally, there's a small business and disabled veteran business enterprise off-ramp. This is where departments will be permitted to purchase equivalent products at the same or lower price from certified small and or DVBEs, even if that certified business does not have a statewide contract, so long as businesses meet the requirements of the statewide contract. To determine whether a particular statewide contract has an SB-DVBE off-ramp, you'd have to consult the statewide contract details and user instructions. Statewide contracts may include ancillary services such as installation, maintenance, imaging, or closely related professional services. So when you're doing your research and you see these statewide contracts, note that there still could be an opportunity for you to get involved. All right. There are a few examples of goods purchased through statewide contracts currently held by certified businesses. So these are current as of last year, February 14. There's 83 certified businesses that hold a statewide contract. Okay. So the software licensing program, that are known as SLP, here at DGS, or with DGS, they negotiate agreements with software publishers for the purchase of various software. These agreements are negotiated, and they're not, there's no bidding process. This is different than all the other acquisition methods and LPAs we've discussed so far. Since they are negotiated, there's no solicitation for businesses to respond to, and there's nothing advertised on CSER from Cali Procure. It's a different process. Additionally, publishers do not sell directly to the state. Instead, they use resellers, which they alone authorize using the following process and methods they choose. Publishers can authorize between 3 and 6 resellers. The state does not play any role in the selection of these resellers. So if a certified business wants to become a reseller for a software publisher, then that's an SLP agreement. That business needs to work with the publisher. Publishers can change resellers throughout the life of the agreement, up to twice a year. So when a state entity uses the SLP agreement to purchase software from resellers, they must get offers from 3 businesses, making the act of purchasing software competitive among the available resellers. However, if only one business of the 3 responds, the buyer can still move forward with the purchase, though they would have to justify it. If there are any software publishers that want to get their own SLP agreement, they can contact the software licensing program here at DGS at the email or phone number that's listed on the PowerPoint. All right, these are examples of what is purchased through an SLP agreement. Businesses have SLP agreements as resellers, selling various kinds of software to fill various business needs, such as software from Adobe, IBM, DocuSign, Cisco, and more. For software licensing program, these are not available. If you're a business that for standalone hardware, consulting, or telecommunication. All right, let's move on to another type of agreement, cooperative agreements. This establishes cooperative multi-state contracts where participating states may join together to achieve cost-effective and efficient acquisition of quality products and services. The cooperative agreements are established from master agreements. They're competitively bid by another entity, such as another state or group of states working together. Cooperative agreements are established from competitively bid agreements. They're also advertised in the CSER, so businesses can see it on Cali Procure, get notification about it from Cali Procure, and respond to it as though it was any other type of competitive solicitation. When a cooperative agreement is established by state or other than California, it may still be advertised on the CSER through Cali Procure. However, the advertisement is simply to direct the business to the procurement system of the other state, and the business must follow the procurement process of that state. Another way for businesses to become part of the cooperative agreement is as a reseller. So as a reseller, a business that does not hold a cooperative agreement themselves, but has been identified as an authorized as a reseller by a business that that holds a cooperative agreement. The business that holds the agreement makes all the decisions about becoming a reseller. The state does not play any role in selecting the resellers. The only requirement the state does have is that all resellers must meet the requirements of the cooperative agreement. The agreement holder can change resellers based on the terms of the agreement, such as one supporter. And cooperative agreements may require offers, which means that a buyer, when using the agreement to purchase a good or service, must solicit offers from multiple businesses that hold the agreement or authorized resellers. This process then becomes competitive amongst those being solicited. Some agreements do not require offers, which means that the buyer can simply purchase at will. All right, so these are the few examples of what can be purchased through a current cooperative agreement held by certified businesses. Laboratory equipment and supplies, cloud solutions. So these are the type of products or services. This may be an opportunity for you. Construction equipment, public safety, communication product services and solutions, or on-demand remote interpreting, document translation, and facilities maintenance and repair and operation. Okay. All right, another LPA is known as the California Multiple Award Schedule. We refer to it as CMAS. And this is available to state agencies and local governments to procure various goods and services. As the name suggests, getting a CMAS does not involve competitive bidding or negotiation, but instead it requires a business to apply for a schedule. So a schedule is a list of goods and services. There are many schedules, and they are created and maintained by the federal government. So California mirrors the federal program to create the solicitation, mirrors the federal program to create the California Multiple Award Schedule. A schedule also contains pre-established pricing and terms and conditions. To become a holder of a schedule, a business must apply. So a business does not have to sell everything listed on a schedule to get it. It just needs to sell something on the schedule that meets the requirements of the schedule. Because this is an application process, multiple businesses can and do hold the same schedule as yourself. The result is a pool of suppliers that the state can solicit offers from. This creates competition among the pool of schedule holders when the state or other entity goes to procure a good or service through CMAS. That means business should still treat this like a competitive environment where marketing one's business is important. Pricing can also be key. So CMAS sets the maximum pricing, but you as a business can offer lower rates, which may be advantageous for the business. So biggest takeaway from this is if you were to apply for it, you still need to market yourself and make yourself known to the advocates or the state agencies, because there are other small businesses that may carry the same schedule, but why would they want to choose you as a business? That's going to be the barriers or the process that you need to position yourself to get selected. All right, so these are a few examples of what can be purchased through CMAS schedules currently being held by certified businesses. For me, my opinion, this is probably the best opportunity for small businesses to land a contract, and you just have to position your schedule or your products and services with the State Department. So one thing to note, these are not included in CMAS. So if your business has to do with facility planning, medical services, registered nursing, human resources, security guard services, legal services, public works, project, engineering, and architectural services, these are not included. So for more information on CMAS and how to apply, here it is, it's dgs.service-now.com/CMAS, and just click create an account, click new company registry only, and then apply for new CMAS. All right, so this is a list of the information of the business owner, and should have, this is what you should have ready when you apply for the CMAS. Having this information ready ahead of time makes the process a lot easier. So the GSA schedule contains the product, services, and maximum prices you can offer. This base schedule can be held either by your company or by another company. The GSA schedule number is needed. It's the official contract number awarded to the contractor. These typically begin with GS- or 47Q. Note that a separate CMAS application must be submitted for each base schedule offered. Service such as installation, maintenance, and repair must be priced in the base schedule to be included in a CMAS. So the base schedule pricing is the maximum pricing allowed using CMAS. You can offer all the products and or services available on the base schedule, or only portions of it. All products and or services must be priced in the base schedule to be offered in your CMAS. Okay, so I wanted to quickly show you how to get to that. You just go to Cali Procure, and this is that the front of that landing page. Go to Cali Procure and click to sell to the state. And then from there, you'll see search for contracts, leverage, procurement agreements. Click on that, and it'll look something like this. You'll have similar search for solicitations in the California State Contracts Register. This is search of existing leverage procurement agreements. So there's different criteria you can search by. All right, I know that was a lot of information, but I'd like to move forward so we could talk about more topics that could help you and put you in better position to compete for contracts. All right, so this is a common question we get asked. If a solicitation or a contract opportunity is not advertised, how do I learn about it? How do I find it? And the answer is really is you don't. The solicitation or contract opportunity finds you. The buyer who is in charge of the procurement finds your company and decides to solicit a response from you. And the way the buyer finds your company is on Cali Procure. So it's essential that you have an updated, robust Cali Procure profile. I know we keep pushing for that, but it's really important for you to have all the information in place. Okay, so we're going to move towards solicitation formats and what that means. Some of you might be familiar with this already, but I'd like to talk about it since we finished talking about acquisition methods. Let's talk about solicitation formats. These are the more common solicitation formats certified businesses can expect to encounter. The format of the solicitation is influenced by the acquisition type and acquisition method, which we've talked about, and the dollar amount, the complexity of the procurement, and the risk factors. So the solicitation format also contributes to how the procurement will be conducted and what the buyer expects of the business and in submitting a bid. So knowing the solicitation format can help a business understand these parts of the procurement better, and better assess how to fit their company and to fulfill the solicitation and be successful in responding to the solicitation. So we go through each one. We'll start with a request for quotation. So RFQ is the most common written solicitation format used to conduct informal competitive acquisition. The RFQ is straightforward, and it's a straightforward procurement format that identifies what is needed or what's requested. That's a proposed solution, and tends to be a low in risk and complexity. So informal solicitations, goods and IT only. These are simple to explain, lowest complexity, often accomplished via email. They're low cost or value effective. Best value is used for LPAs such as CMAS and MSA. The invitation for bid, the IFB, is a written solicitation document used to solicit bid responses for non-IT goods or for IT goods and or services where suppliers are asked to provide a bid to the state's known and detailed and clear requirements. So an IFB is also used to obtain simple, common, or routine non-IT services that may require personal or mechanical skills where little direction is used in performing the work, such as routine pest control, equipment maintenance, uniform rentals, things like that. An IFB can easily be used for public works projects also. So the requesting agency knows exactly what they want and they just need bids. This is an example of invitation for bid. For an IFB, the state provides a complete statement of work describing everything that the state needs the business to accomplish, including all work, supplies, personnel, and timeframes. So an IFB is typically awarded by low cost. However, there may be exceptions to that rule. All right. So RFPs are used to obtain complex services in which professional expertise is needed and may vary. Where this is different, different methods and approaches may be applied during performance. An example is professional services such as auditing or specialized data collection. In primary, performance requires varying methods or approaches, but not innovation or creativity. The methods and approaches used may differ significantly from one proposer to another, which allows cost to be used as the deciding factor for making the award. The statement of work is fairly well defined in terms of services or functions that must be performed, as are the timeframes that are required. So cost proposals are submitted in a separate sealed envelope apart from the narrative proposal. And the narrative proposals are reviewed, evaluated, and scored for compliance for format, content, and qualification requirements. Cost proposals are not scored. Qualified proposals that are responsive to the RFP requirements will have their cost price proposals publicly open and read. So following the opening and reading of cost proposals are then adjusted for applicable small business or TACPA and DVBE incentives. A certified small business receives an amount equal to 5% for the lowest cost proposal submitted by a non-certified small business, reduced from its cost proposal. An award is to the responsible proposer offering the lowest cost for its services. Okay, and then we have RFO. This is done when we're purchasing against an LPA. So an RFO is a document sent to LPA contractors, which contains requirements for a specific transaction and request, a specific response or offer. The individual uses the instructions of the LPA will indicate whether additional offers are required. An example for this is a consultant with a CMS gets an RFO to provide IT consulting services. The business responds, as do other CMS holders, and the buyer evaluates the responses and then awards the contract. So for LPA transactions greater than 5,000, department develops the request for offer, RFO, with the state's current terms and conditions attached to be agreed upon by the supplier when they submit their bid or their quote or offer. The RFO must request suppliers provide retail price along with their offer. Okay, so let's move towards contract readiness. There are some things you should consider to determine if you're ready for a contract. You want to ask yourself, do you meet the requirements before you do a lot of the work to submit a bid or a solicitation or try to get an LPA? You want to make sure you meet these requirements. I would hate for you to go through this whole process, waste your time, and you ultimately can't do the work. So another question is, do you have the financial capacity? The state often pays after you complete the work, not before. So it can take up to 45 days to make a payment. So you need to make sure you have the financial capacity to complete the contract. And third, can you deliver on the contract? This is really asking about your capacity to completely fulfill the contract. You need to assess if you can do that, or if this contract is too large for your business to handle at this time. Also, consider your eligibility and evaluation criteria. Thinking about your past performance, required experience and skills, and the capability of your business. Are you eligible? Here are some quick tips to make you successful with state contracts. Do not let your certification lapse. You could lose out on an opportunity. Keep it up to date and renew it when needed. Normally, you receive an email to give you notification, but you need to make sure it's up to date and keep your profile information current. Make sure you hold any and all certifications and licenses that you need to perform the work. Make sure you have the needed insurance. Depending on the type of work you do, you may need to have insurance. So generally, insurance is required when performing services for the state, but not for goods or products. But that information will be stated for you depending on the solicitation you're trying to bid for. And here are some common mistakes that small businesses make. You know, some of these might seem like common sense, but believe it or not, it happens. Forgetting to sign all the documents, ignoring historical information available for pricing. So you want to have a checklist to make sure that you fulfill all the necessary information for these bids. All right, and in regards to contracts or solicitations, you want to ask your questions early. Do not wait till the end to ask your questions. Always read the solicitation documents and make sure you understand them. As much as we want to help you, at the end of the day, you need to be able to read the solicitation and understand what it says and what is needed of you. And finally, if you secure a contract, congratulations. It also means that you are legally bound to deliver. If you do not, that is not good for your business. Failing on a state contract will hurt your reputation and make it more difficult for you to get future contracts. We mentioned this before, but many jobs do not pay until the work is done and have up to 45 days after receiving an undisputed invoice to do so. So think about how will your business stay afloat and financed during that time. Okay. Wanted to discuss commercially useful function. This is a very important topic. So this is necessary regardless of the procurement approach or payment method that's being used. So you perform a commercially useful function if you're executing a distinct element of the work, performing, managing, or supervising the work, performing work that is normal for the firm's business services and functions, and negotiating price, determining quality and quantity, ordering, installing, and making payment, and not subcontracting a portion of the work greater than expected by industry practices. And you're not performing CUF if you're being used as a pass-through to obtain the appearance of a SB DVBE participation, not being used to perform the work as stipulated in the bid, and no longer used to provide goods and services listed in the initial bid response. So in short, I mean, you just have to be transparent that you're using or you're doing the work that you were contracted to do, is to protect the integrity of the program, and it's also to protect you as a small business. Now, there are going to be a different type of resources that you could lean on, especially when you're in the contracting process. So if you're a new business, you could reach out to the Small Business Development Center. For government contracting, you could reach out to Apex Accelerators. And then for newer business, for mentorship, you could reach out to SCORE. We've gone over all these information. I know I threw a lot at you, but note that we could discuss this further. We have other trainings that's going to be available for you, but we've gone over how the state buys, acquisition methods, leverage procurement agreements, solicitation formats, commercially useful function, and the resources that you could build a team on. You could also follow us in LinkedIn if you haven't done so. This is a way for you to see all the workshops and events that we're involved in. And again, reach out to us if you have questions about state contracting. If you haven't registered or if you're not certified yet, you can update your Cali Procure profile. If you need help doing that, we could help you with that, and where to find contract opportunities. So you could just scan this QR code and set up an appointment. Again, thank you for joining us. Please remember to visit swvrc.org for more resources, and they're here to support you also in your entrepreneurial journey. Again, my name is Darvin Manuel. I'll open it up to questions. and see if there's any questions here. One question I have, how does the state determine if a solicitation will be formal or informal, informal competitive? Great question, Jay. I believe it's based on the amount of the solicitation. If it's less than 50,000, then it's considered informal. But I could double check on that for you, and you could reach out to me at darvin.manuel@dgs.ca.gov. And then another question I have is, if my quote is not the lowest for fair and reasonable acquisition, is there any chance I could still be awarded the contract? Quite possibly. Normally it is for the lowest, but it could be best value. So it's really going to depend on the contract itself. Another question I received is, when a contract is awarded for a specific contract value for 3 years, can the awardee expect 100% of the contract value, or is it common to only enjoy a lesser contract value? Not really sure what the question's asking. When a contract is awarded for. Yeah, you can expect 100% of the contract value. It's really going to depend on what the industry rate is. They'll be able to answer that for you as far as the contract administrator. So it could depend on the contract itself. All right, question for master agreement. Is there a limit on the number of vendors that can be awarded? I don't think there's a limit, but you'll have to reach out to that department. It could depend on what they're putting the master agreement for, as far as number of vendors that they're gonna need. So I know I keep using it depends, but that is something that they'll be better equipped to answer. And I think that's all I have for questions. Thank you again. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me or set up a consultation. Let me bring that back up. So this will allow you to set up time that works best for you. And I could share this also with Daniel, the PowerPoint. Again, my name's Darvin Manuel. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.